It is news day here in the Philippines, and I've got my recording. I use an app called Snagit. I pay a little bit each year for that. Anyway, it does a pretty good job, and I'm over here at Philstar Global. We've had a couple of earthquakes here in the Philippines in the last week. A couple of pretty good sized ones, especially this one. It was originally rated at 7.2. And what you find around the world is oftentimes these agencies, they will downgrade after a day or two or three, they will downgrade. And very rare that they will upgrade, but they will downgrade. Anyway, 180 families affected by magnitude 6.8 Davao Occidental quake. And we're going to look at some of the damage here in the next clip here, but give you an idea. Some walls went down there. And the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council on Sunday reported that 180 families were impacted by the magnitude 6.8 earthquake, jolted several parts of Mindanao last Friday. At the same time, it says that 1,509 individuals have been affected. Davao Occidental, Oriental, South Cotabato, and Sarangani. The agency also reported that there were 8 people dead. Since this article, I think I've read 9 people and 13 injured from the powerful quake. And here was an original story. Originally, it was this magnitude 7.2 quake jolts Davao Occidental. Aftershocks expected. And let's jump over to this video here, which is on Facebook, and it's by the Philippine News Agency, so I don't think it is copyrighted. But anyway, this is a news story, so I should be able to use it. Anyway, let's turn this on. All right, you see the crane collapsed. Wait, the crane has collapsed up there on this, I believe it's in Davao City, this new high-rise condominium. And a little bit of debris falling down there. I don't know if it's just the siding material, what it is. And over here, still on Facebook, GMA Regional TV News stated magnitude 5.2 earthquake jolted Calbiga in Samar Province. Looks like it's not very far from, you've got Leyte here and Samar, and you've got a bridge going across, so not very far from that region over there. And this is from the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, PhilVolcs. You can go to their site to get additional information. Sunstar also has information about it. Jumping back over to Philstar, here's another article, Mindanao earthquake, death toll rises to 9, and it's November 20th, 2023, some additional damage showing there. Jumping back over to Philstar, I recently read a number of posts someplace on, maybe it was Facebook, on one of the expat groups about scams. What kind of scams did you encountered here? Anyway, interesting long list of different experiences. Anyway, a Malaysian and 11 Pinoys caught renting out 50,000 SIM cards. Now, SIM card is what you put in your cell phone to make it work in various countries with various carriers. And several months, I don't know, 6 months or longer ago, they came out with a new law that you had to register your SIM card. And they thought that would reduce the number of scams being sent out as text messages to various people. And I've gotten a few of those. I've gotten more since that law went into effect than before it went into effect. So whatever that means. I think there have been a one or two different government agencies, I think I read, that had been hacked. A lot of the information, you hack the information, you sell the information. And so I don't know if that's the cause or not. Anyway, the National Bureau of Investigation has arrested a Malaysian and 11 Filipinos for allegedly renting out SIM cards with verified Gcash accounts, the NBI announced. Aside from the 50,000 SIM cards, the Bureau also confiscated 13 desktop computers, 40 GSM modems, and text blasters. So they can just get numbers and just blast them out, blast out text messages trying to scam you. 57 cell phones and a laptop. The operation started with information about people on Facebook looking for Gcash account holders with a 500,000 peso limit who are willing to have their accounts rented. Account holders were offered 2,000 as payment and an additional 2,000 for succeeding months as rental fee for their account to be used for load in casinos. Interesting. November 21st, Baguio chills at 13.4 degrees Celsius. Now, I think my conversion rate, that's about 56 degrees. 56 degrees Fahrenheit. Baguio is up in the mountains up north of Manila metropolitan area, and it used to be considered the summer capital. Much cooler. You go up in elevation. I think it's about 5,000 feet high, which is about a mile above sea level. So you go up in elevation, that's where you get your cooler temps. So that's starting to get chilly, but I don't know if they've ever had, they probably have had snow, a little bit of snow, but I suspect different times over the years, I suspect it melted almost immediately. The weather here in part of the Philippines has been cloudy and a little bit rainy for the last few days. And this is a low pressure area. I got one here, got one here. There was some concern that this might turn into a typhoon. A few days ago, it was a possibility that it would turn into a typhoon and possibly go across the Philippines, which is here, or run up the north coast. Anyway, this red line here is the Philippine Area of Responsibility, PAR. And once a storm enters that area, the Philippines' responsibility to track it. And they also rename it, which becomes a little bit confusing. And once it goes out the other side of that red line, it goes back to the original international name. So it can be confusing trying to track these. But anyway, we've had some cloudy skies, a little bit of rain off and on, but nothing major, no typhoons anyway. And jumping back over to another scam apparently that's happening, DOH, which is Department of Health here in the Philippines, warns of fake vax social media accounts. Apparently there are media accounts trying to get you to pay to register your vaccination status. And I'm surprised that they're still doing that, but they are. These fake accounts solicit money in exchange for a vaccination certificate. And the VaxCert is official digital vaccination certificate for Filipinos and non-Filipinos vaccinated in the Philippines, remains free of charge. And anyway, my understanding is that very, very few Filipinos are getting the follow-up vaxes. Many of you know I broke my shoulder about 2 months ago now, and hopefully sometime next month I will start some kind of rehab program. But anyway, when I was in the hospital, a nurse asked me whether I'd had the jab, and I said no, and she was quite shocked. And I asked her when she had got her last jab, and she said, well, over a year ago. I said, well, technically you are no longer jabbed either, because they wane over the course of 3 or 4 months. It's been proven that the protection wanes very rapidly. So certainly over a year, there's probably almost no protection anymore. And the fact of the matter, even Bill Gates, quite some time ago, was being interviewed, and he said, we knew early on, very early on, that it was basically a problem with very old people who had several comorbidities, which meant they were very overweight, obese, oftentimes diabetic, heart problems, lung problems. Number had oftentimes 4 or more different health issues, and that was the problem. Those were the problem people in general. Of course, you can have younger people with comorbidities also. But anyway, that discussion is for another site. This particular site doesn't like those types of discussions of science. This last story in the Freeman Cebu News: San Nicolas proper birthing center now fully optional. Interesting. The other day I went over to Lapu-Lapu on Mactan Island because my girlfriend's family member, son, and his wife had a new child recently, and they were getting it christened, similar to baptism, christening in the church, Catholic church here, and went over there for that event. And anyway, lots of babies, lots of people still having babies here in the Philippines. I also read recently that by the end of 2023, this year, the Philippines may reach 115 million population. That's a figure that I've been throwing out for quite some time, that I figured it probably had increased to that amount. Anyway, they do. The birthing center, I've seen them in my travels around different islands, different areas, and this center is open 24/7, manned by a nurse and midwives from Cebu City Health Office. And center has several beds and a delivery room for expectant mothers. Ninal, however, said that facility only caters normal delivery, would not accommodate primary pregnancy. I guess that means something like a C-section or a problem delivery, except in cases where the patient can no longer proceed to a hospital. You got to do what you got to do, in other words. I have asked a number of people. I've been in the Philippines 8 years. I've asked quite a number of people over the years if they had any type of sex education in schools or churches or whatever, and I think almost 100% of the time the answer is no. And some people even told me that I don't think you need education for sex. I think it comes naturally. So therefore, you have a small country. It's about the size of Arizona land-wise, about the size of Nevada. Italy is a little bit larger in land area, but the Philippines has 115 million people. Arizona has 7 million people. So drop 100 million or 105 million people into your state, your country, your province, whatever, and see what kind of issues you would have with poverty and everything that would come along with that number of people. Anyway, thanks for coming along. Just some of the news that I have read here recently, some important stuff, some interesting stuff. Stay safe, stay healthy, safe travels, and I'll see you next time.